The information is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented herein for entertainment and educational purposes only. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my own body from the multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally, cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, everything from medical to cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy. These experiences led us to discover the recipe that became known as the 4 Natural Laws of Healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox, cleanse the body, and then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-Day Healing Retreat. We have helped thousands of people just like you get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. If you want to know what that looks like, go to livingwaterscleanse.com and click on the video 4 Natural Laws of Healing, or call the office at 208-378-9911.
Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Living Waters Wellness Center is Idaho's largest colon hydrotherapy center and known for its 10-day cleanse and healing retreat. Each week, we provide you the necessary education and tools to detox and heal the body following the 4 natural laws of healing. To learn more details about the 4 natural laws of healing, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. On top right, you'll see a link to the 4 natural laws of healing. Click on that. Follow that and watch that video. If you miss any parts of this show or want to re-listen to certain segments, be sure to subscribe to our podcast, The Whole Body Detox Show, which is found on any of the national podcasts platforms, Apple, Spotify, etc., or just go to wholebodydetoxshow.com. Today, we're going to be talking about a variety of things surrounding dis-ease in the body, especially cancer. That's usually the big one that most people fear. So we're going to start out about that. And by the way, just my disclaimer is that we're not here to diagnose, treat, or convey anything that this is going to be the cure-all for you. So take whatever I say with a grain of salt and just enjoy the show. I've had cancer. 2003, February 13th, I was told, David, you got cancer. I went, huh? And it was an interesting moment in time. I chose the road less traveled. I decided not to go the allopathic route. I decided not to do chemo or radiation, to have surgery. Nope, took a completely different route. And fortunately for me, I had been studying ways to heal the body for quite some time. And so I really already made up my mind that if the day ever came that I had that knowledge that I had cancer, I wasn't going to go down that route. So first of all, if you're one of those, or if you know someone who has just been recently diagnosed with any disease for that matter, take a big, deep breath. Look, especially when it comes to cancer, it takes 10 years for it to get big enough for the doctors to actually see it. But yet, usually they want to rush you into some kind of a treatment very quickly. And they'll give you words like it's fast acting, or, oh, we just got an opening now, we can get you in, we're going to get you to surgery, we're going to get you over here to radiation, we're going to get you scheduled for this appointment, that appointment. Next thing you know, you got your friends and family calling you, oh my God, you got cancer, oh my God, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. Listen, take a big, deep breath. Hang up the phone and go within. You have got time. I don't care what anyone tells you. You can speed up the time to death on any disease if you choose to just by using your mind. Conversely, science has proven that we can reverse things with our thought and with our mind. We're going to talk about that today in the show a bit because it's very, very important, the attitude that you go into this. When I began my protocol, what I decided to do for me, I had great confidence. Now, I had knowledge, and with knowledge comes power. I mean, was there some doubts at times? Sure. Was I concerned? Sure. Did I think what's going to happen to my babies? At the time, let's see, this is 2003, my son would have been 5 years old. My daughter was 13. Another one I think was 16. So yeah, there were some concerns there. But you need a friendly on your team. I'm going to share with you some stories today about people we have helped that took the road less traveled as well. One of them is my old friend Rob. Rob was a really cool dude. He was actually a former outfitter. And Rob, I'll never forget it because the day that I healed my cancer, and for me, it was about a 6-month process. I got it February, and by the time July 31st rolled around, I was golden. And we went on a 3-day trip down the Salmon River with Rob. In 2017, 2018, Rob showed up at my door. I hadn't seen him in a number of years. I think I talked to him on the phone once or twice, but he got referred to me by another friend. And he had already been to the doctors, going in and out of doctor's offices for about 6 months. He had this big old lump on his cheekbone, and they didn't know what it was, how it got there. But yet they were doing some more scans and some more tests, and they actually suggested that they cut it out, but they told him he only had 2 months to live. Now I'm looking at this situation going, if you got 2 months to live, then why are you even here? Why would you have it cut off? How are you going to close and shut your mouth when they take out half the side of your face? And I says, well, and I posed the question. I says, well, what if cleansing the body, detoxifying it, and getting the proper nutrition in your body turned this around? What if that worked? Are you willing to take 15, 20 days out of your world and do a deep tissue cleanse? He says, I'm all in. And by golly, he went all in. What do I mean by all in? Well, let's step back for a moment and let's just look at the world we live in today. You've got to cut out a lot of things if you want to prevent any disease, whether it's Parkinson's, ALS, MS, cancer. Those diseases were created by you. At the end of the day, you can blame a lot of the chemicals and the world we live in as the source, but deep undercurrent, it began with you and your emotions. I hired a personal coach back then. He looked at me and says, well, David, why did you create this? And I looked at him. It was a hot day and it was in a parking lot. And he says, do you want to live or do you want to die? Now, when you got a dis-ease like this, those are some pretty heady questions. And so I had to really examine me. Why did I create this? What do you mean, why did I create this? How did I create this? But I did create this. Why did I create this, though? And that was a question I had to ponder on. And the big question was, well, do you want to live or do you want to die? And I thought, well, I'm only, what was I at that time? 45, 46, something like that. And I said, well, yeah, I want to live. I got kids. I want to see them graduate from high school. I want to do all the things with my family. I'm not done living yet. So going forward from that, I continued on my path to continue to heal my body. In other words, I had to look deep within. Clearing out the physical of any dis-ease is one thing, but examining why you created it mentally, emotionally, and spiritually is another matter altogether. One of the big benefits we give you when you come through our 10-day healing retreat is we give you a lot of tools. And a big part of the toolbox is the emotional tools. Because all the diseases actually began emotionally. Your thoughts are so powerful. I'm going to tell you, quantum physics and the scientists, they have proven it time and time again. you create the dis-ease based upon your emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical state, and much more heavily on the emotional and mental. So you've got to make a decision when you get these diseases. What are you going to do? The big thing you got to do is take a big breath. And for Rob shut off his phone, and I thought it was brilliant because he had people calling him, giving you, oh my God, I'm so sorry you got cancer, and oh, you better listen to the doctors, and how are you going to treat this, and you better listen to them, you better do what they say. And he asked one person he met at church, and he says, why do you say that? She says, oh, my husband, he was told he had 3 months to live, and by golly, he died 3 months to the day later. I have seen this too happen over the years. People were told they had 3 months or 5 months or 6 months or whatever. And those that believed it and bought into it, bingo. I mean, to the day in some cases. And I've had other people that said, that's not going to be me. I was one of those guys. My dad was one of those guys. My dad was told he had 2 years at best. We're talking today about what to do if you get diagnosed with a, let's just say, severe disease. And when I say severe, I would say cancer, ALS, Parkinson's, MS, muscle dystrophy, etc. Those are some of the top ones. But at the end of the day, all of these dis-eases, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, whatever name that is applied to your dis-ease, it took a while for it to get there, and it began underneath in the emotional, spiritual, mental part of the body and manifests itself into the physical. So talking about on the first episode today is that you've got to be able to take a big, deep breath and understand that that cancer just didn't grow out of and pop up overnight, because it took 10 years. So it's not going to kill you in the next 10 days, the next 20 days, or 30 days, unless you choose to. And I've seen people choose complete opposite and live many, many, many years later because they took matters into their own hands. You cannot become the victim and shrink up and shrivel up. You've got to take some time, get a good coach. And I think that's one of the best things that we do down at Living Waters is, giving you that confidence and the love that you need to overcome your disease. All these diseases can be overcome. I've seen every single one. As I mentioned, I think on the show a few weeks ago, I was down at the Healing ALS conference where I spoke to the crowd down there, and I met many people who were told that they would be dead within the year. Most of the ALS people are told they'll be dead within 2 years. Best case 5. And yet, I met many people who at one point weren't walking, couldn't talk, and now they reversed all of those symptoms and are walking and talking and living life because they chose to. I think making that choice is one of the biggest factors. If you go into that moment of, oh, poor me, and look I get it. I was there. I had those thoughts for a moment, oh, poor me. But I decided that I wasn't going to be, oh, poor me, that I was going to survive it, conquer it, and live. And really, at that moment of time, and I think most of the ALS people that I met that have conquered it, that's what their demeanor was to, hey, I'm conquering this. This is healed. One of the first things we do when you come through the 10-day healing retreat is we have a talk about this. There's some videos you'll watch while you're here on the retreat. And we have, in fact, when surrounding cancer, there's a movie that was done some years ago called The Cure Is. Fascinating documentary. I don't know if you can still get it on the internet or not, but if you can, well worth the watch. And here's people who actually just simply use thought to overcome their cancers. And we see people do that with ALS, and I've seen people do it with Parkinson's. Look, we all know that the toxins in our world are bad. And I can give you the list right now. What should you be doing? Well, you should be looking around you. Do you got a lot of Wi-Fi around your place? Are you next to cell towers? How about electrical substations? All this dirty energy, dirty electricity. You got to clean up the things. You got to clean up your environment. This is all physical stuff you need to do, right? Clean up your diet. Stay away from the toxic foods. Stay away from the chemicals. as I've mentioned several times in these shows in the past, 90% of the supermarkets are simply junk, toxic food. Should not be eaten by anybody. Now, they're selling buckets and buckets of it, but that doesn't mean you have to partake in that. Now, if you're one of those who have been eating that food and you're addicted to it, I can tell you that once you go through a 10-day healing retreat, those addictions to those chemicals will dissipate or disappear completely. Once we get the chemicals out of the body, your body will then take on a new craving. And if you're giving it good quality food, you're going to love that food. We've had people come here on the first couple of days go like, oh, yeah, I don't like vegetables so much. I don't like drinking the green juice so much. And by about day 4 or 5, it's like, oh, it tastes pretty good. Why? Because we've chemically changed the body by detoxifying the body through colon hydrotherapy and all the other modalities that we use. Colon hydrotherapy has to be your number one go-to on any of these diseases. You got to open up the pathways that allows your body to detox. That is job one, detoxification. And although there'll be people tell you, oh, just take a cleanser, get a $40 tub of some kind of a cleanser at the store, and that'll clean out your colon. You'll be just fine. I've had doctors tell their patients this. Water through colon hydrotherapy is the number one choice for those who have done it, because look, when you're hydrating that colon, when you're dissolving all that old fecal matter, which, by the way, the average person listening to this show is packing around 12 to 15 pounds of the old garbage, you got to get that out. And there's not enough fiber in the world for most of you to get it out because it's been sitting there for years and years. You're dehydrated. Your colon's dehydrated. That's where 80% of your immune system lies. You've got to clean that up. Colon hydrotherapy is easy. It's quick. It's a very private process. And every time I do one, it's like, I just feel so much better. We're around so many toxins, and so it can be overwhelming at first, but you just make a list and you just start stepping through it. You just go down through your little checklist. You stop drinking out of aluminum cans. You get a glass bottle. You drink your water. You get purified water. You don't drink water out of plastic. You don't need any more microplastics in your body. Okay? You don't go and get some of these jabs that have the mercury and the aluminum in it that cause problems. You're going to want to look at your dentistry, which, by the way, we just had 3 episodes. We talked about dentistry the last 3 weeks. You want to go back and listen to those on podcast number 97 and 99 over at the Whole Body Detox Show. We talk a lot about root canals, fluoride, mercury amalgam fillings. Those are all a factor in these dis-eases. It's all the physical stuff, right? You probably want to buy yourself a good juicer. I think we did that back on podcast number 4 with John Kohler out of discountjuicers.com. He's got a great YouTube channel where he compares all the juicers. You want a good masticating juicer. You want to start juicing fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables. And you don't want to use regular toxic food. You want to get organic, healthy food that you're going to juice. Otherwise, you're just pouring on the pesticides into your body. What's around you? What's surrounding you? Many of you may be working in buildings where there's a ton of Wi-Fi. Can you move your desk? You might want to get a meter and measure that, because this is another factor in creating cancer. Boise, Idaho's got these 5G towers going up, which we know that these electromagnetic radiation of these towers creates glioblastoma brain cancer. Big lawsuit going on right now regarding this. It's been in the courts for 20-some years. We got an American Disabilities Act case coming up in San Francisco, the Ninth Circuit. Andrew Campanelli will be arguing that here in December. This poor guy had a tower go up across his home, and all of a sudden now he's got severe health problems. We'll be arguing that case. So we know that these are all factors. These are all things that you need to look at when it comes to any disease. But again, remember, take a big deep breath, because you have time to make a decision. And you need some people you can trust on your team. And there's going to be some people in your family you're going to have to just stop talking to them, because they're going to be trying to pressure you to do what has been supposedly conventional. Be careful when they say that. This is standard of care. Be wary of that. In fact, I'm going to come back and there's some questions you're going to want to ask your doctors when it comes to healing your body. And if they're not giving you the right answers, you might want to get up and run out of the room as fast as you can. We'll come back and talk about that in a moment because, again, selecting the team you're going to surround yourself is very, very important. Diet is very, very important. So however you assemble that team, I can tell you here at Living Waters, in the 10-day healing retreat, we give you all of these tools on our buffet table of health, the health bucket or the health toolbox that we give you. There's so many of these processes that we share with you that you can take with you for the rest of your life. And you really need that knowledge. It's something we spent 20 years assembling, and we give it to you in a little less than 10 days. So we'll be back in a moment. We'll be talking about more about that, what to do when you get diagnosed with a bad disease, or maybe you've got one right now. And you want to learn about what we do, go to livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, The 4 Natural Laws of Healing. Watch that video. You might want to watch it twice. Lots of information packed in there. And if you want to reach out to have a consult with us, it's 208-3789-911. 208-3789-911. I'm David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center. I'll be back in a moment. Stay tuned.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.
Welcome back. David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from Living Waters Wellness Center, livingwaterscleanse.com. If you want to reach out to us, schedule a consult, or just take a tour of the facility and say, hey, what do you guys do? What are you up to? Call the office at 208-378-9911. But before you come to see us, you're going to have to watch a video. And that video is called The 4 Natural Laws of Healing. And you'll find that at livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on that link, watch it. Have your full family watch it because knowledge is power, and I give you a lot of power in that video. You know, as we've been talking about, I experienced cancer years ago and went through that. So did my mom and so did my dad. And we took the road less traveled to heal our diseases. My dad was told he had maybe 2 years at best. He had prostate cancer. They called it fast acting. The numbers had supposedly went from like a 7 or 8 to 38 in about a month's time. And my dad was a John Deere mechanic, so he had a lot of toxicity in his world. As a John Deere mechanic back in the day, just for example, I remember cleaning parts off in Salton. We never ever used gloves. We just put our hands in it. Our poor old livers took the beating there. Well, my dad has now done 8 10-day healing retreats. He's very close to 90 years of age. I just went up and helped him put up some wood. We put up a couple cords of wood in a few days' time. So he's still very active. He's got his John Deere tractors, falls his own trees, bucks them up, loads them into the scooper on the John Deere tractor. And of course, we got a splitting ram now, which was much better than the old days. But he's still active. And so did my mom. My mom had cancer. She had severe allergies, severe digestive issues. She was pretty sick. In fact, I would say, as allergies go, she had a lot of them. But I would say today she's probably 95% cleared. I mean, there's still a few things that affect her, but not like the old days. Holy moly. She could go into a town and if someone had the wrong perfume on, she'd have to go home. It was really bad. And, but anyway, so she, again, we all three took the road less traveled. Is what my father-in-law was given 4 months to live. He had cancer going on in his body. He lived another 12 years after doing a 10-day healing retreat. and a big change in him. One of the things we see when people shift, that's a big thing I think we give people, is the ability to shift. Because remember, as I've mentioned, these diseases are rooted deep down emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. And so one of the beautiful things that we do here is we give you this buffet table of choices of tools that you may use. Now, there may be some tools that I disagree with that one, or that doesn't resonate with me, and that's fine. But we open you up to the possibilities, and whatever resonates with you, you're going to choose. It's going to be perfect for you. We do a lot of work on showing you how powerful your mind is, how powerful your emotions are. There are places in this world, they're called medicineless hospitals or medicineless centers, where they simply get together, the patient, with 3 other people with their hands over them, and they change their emotional state to gratitude, love, and joy, and they literally see the tumor disappearing. And the tumor disappears. Which is interesting because, you think, well, how can a grapefruit-sized tumor disappear in 3 minutes, David? Yeah. Well, here's where quantum physics I find to be fascinating. In our cells, we have these atoms, right? And every atom, it's not just matter, it's 99.999999% space. What's in the space? It's not matter. What is it? Well, it's information. It's energy. And that's one of the big goals, is to change the energy. For example, not too long ago, we had someone in here that they were on the transplant list for liver. And liver represents anger. My cancer was in my liver. And I'd carried around a lot of anger for a lot of years. And the beautiful thing about going through the process and ditching all the old toxins and pesticides and the parasites, those are beings, they're entities, they're putting off their own energy. And when you get those guys to scat out of the body, your energy changes. Your cells change. You change. And you can choose what that looks like for you. And the beautiful thing about watching people all these years, nearly 14 years we've been here, watching people change their disease state, is seeing what happens when we remove the chemicals, we remove the parasites, and we give you permission and the encouragement, cheerlead you at some point, to let go of the negativity, let go of the anger. I mean, there's people came here. This one gal came here. She had a tumor on her breast, the size bigger than a grapefruit. And it was on her left side. And her issue was with her mother, female energy. And she just had a hard time letting it go. I wish we could have met her sooner than later. When she was here, she was changing so rapidly. When she lived out of state, when she went back to her state, she was around that family member again, and she got worse. When she came here again, she got better. And she told me in a talk that, she says, I just feel like I've got barbed wires poking at me. The energy that's coming at me is barbed wire energy from my very own family member. And we had this talk about how are you going to let that go? What are you going to do? Because this is your work. You let this energy go. Remember, what's in the cells? What's in the atoms? Space. What's in the space? Information. We talked a few weeks ago about emotions and the energy, and it's really important that you understand this. So one of the big 3 words I teach people anytime they come through the cleanse is that they got to remember 3 words. Cancel, cancel, cancel. Change it. So when you're out there driving around today or whatever you're doing, and you get a thought in your brain and maybe you get upset with someone who's done something to you past, you're thinking about an issue you have to take care of and you're not very happy about it. In that moment, you need to cancel, cancel, cancel. You need to change the energy. Because I can tell you, You may be ticked off at somebody, and they probably don't know it, and it's not bothering them, but it is affecting you 100%. Do you want to be affected by someone else's blah, blah, how they treated you? So what? I mean, stuff happens. You can't take on and be upset with someone the rest of your life because it's going to kill you sooner than later. So making that choice to change the energy, when I say change it, you've got to change that. And Jesus taught us what? Love. Love, guys. I will show you when you come through our retreat how you cannot break the bonds of love. It's the most powerful word on earth. And you put that love in all your cells and tissues. You put that white light of energy in your body. And you can do that. Everyone has the power to do that just by visualization. And the feeling of that energy changes everything chemistry in your body. Bam. Like that. And that's where you have to go with this to change any dis-ease. If you want to learn how to heal your body naturally from within, go over to livingwaterscleanse.com. Watch the webinar, 4 Natural Laws of Healing. While you're there, watch the little 12-minute video, how to do a colonic under the tab treatments. That is going to change your world, save your life. How do I know? Well, years ago, I not only had psoriasis and allergies and asthma. Asthma so bad at the point I was just begging to take my next breath. Eventually ended up with cancer. Had a lot of muscle pain throughout the years, arthritis, severe psoriasis. Here in the Living Waters, if you come in, you'll see my pictures of my arms up on the wall and pictures of what my feet looked like. I had severe mold and fungus. I mean, just really nasty, nasty stuff. And quite a learning process. Took me about 20 years to figure things out. And eventually we ended up putting this recipe together thanks to my lovely wife, Wendy, who's had her own major healing issue a few years ago when she fell off a roof and the doctors told her she would probably never walk again. And we said, cancel, cancel, cancel. We're changing that energy. And of course, we brought all her tools down to the hospital. She was there 24 days. And today she's here and she runs our healing retreats. She does walk and she completely reversed all of that. And it's a blessing to see. We went through some really traumatic times. But I'm just telling you, whatever dis-ease state you get, you need a good coach. You need a team member. You need someone who's got some good energy. And I think we bring that to the table. When you come through our healing retreat, we give you a big dose of love. And I got to tell you, love is king when it comes to healing. So whatever your issue is, reach out to us. Give us a call, 208-3789-911. We've got the great educational tools on our website. And when you sign up to get that little video, you'll get some of our other educational tools as well. So take advantage of that. We give you, well, I spent probably $200,000 the hard way figuring out. You can take care of that in a 10-day healing retreat, no matter what your issue is. I have seen people so sick, so debilitating. Frankly, there's been times when I thought, I don't know how this is going to turn out, right? I mean, I know everyone's going to have a great result. I've been here 14 years watching this happen. But sometimes there's like, wow, this is going to be a journey. But we've seen it. We've seen people come in here, can't walk, legs as black as night. And, it looks like they're ready to have things amputated. This one guy. And by golly, his legs became pink. He became able to walk. He started walking like after 6 colonics. It was absolutely amazing. The body is amazing. You're an amazing being. Like I say, when you got to surround yourself with the positive energy. And you may have a spouse, quite frankly, that's not serving your higher good. You may have to move out or go someplace for a while. I don't know what that looks like for you. I've seen this happen before where people just say, hey, I've got to go away. I've got to get to a place where I have positive energy, people who believe in me, people who believe that I can be healed. That is really, really important because we can address the physical all day long. I mean, there's all kinds of people who treat physically, but at the end of the day, underlying all of this turmoil is the deep-seated emotional, spiritual, mental issues that you have created for whatever reason. So, again, whatever disease you get, we started talking about cancer today, but you got to take a big, deep breath. You're not going to die tomorrow. You're not. You've got time. And you've got time to figure things out. And the first thing you need is you need a good coach. You need someone on your team who's going to support you. And you may need to know someone that's going to, when you do things you're not supposed to, going to say, hold you accountable. Really important to have that support structure. And so you're going to have to figure out how you get that. And again, like my friend Rob did, he hung up the phone. There was only a select handful of people he would talk to. And that was really wise for him to do that because he had a lot of people wanting him to do what didn't serve his higher good as he believed. I'll tell you a quick story. I heard this from Dr. Joe Dispenza. He was in a hospital one day and he was working with some people and he looked over. This guy comes in. He had a big old cancer on the side of his head. And Dr. Joe looks over him. The guy looks back and he winks at him. And after a while, Joe got to go over and talk to him. And he says, what, you got the cancer there? He goes, yeah. How long you had that? And I think he said something like 40-some years. And he goes, oh, well, what'd they tell you when you got it? He said, well, they told me I would, be dead within the year. So what'd you do? He says, well, I made a decision. I wanted to see my son graduate from high school. And I did. Then I made a decision. I want to see my son graduate from college. 4 years later, I saw him graduate from college. And I thought, you know what? I want to hang around on earth. I want to see him get married. And thus I did. And I thought, you know what? I want to see my first grandbaby. And so he hung around. And he saw his grandbaby. And then he said, I think I'll hang around longer and see this baby grow up. And he looked over at Dr. Joe and he slapped him and he said, too bad more people don't think that way. Thinking is the key, my friend. There's lots of negativity out there. There's so much negativity in the news and the media, especially what we're going through today. It can actually give you outright depressed. So a couple of tools I want to give you today is, first of all, there's a thing called grounding, where you go out, put your feet in the grass, walk around, and that grounding is going to help you get centered. I picked up meditation about 5 years ago. Yeah, 5 years ago now. Find you a good meditation technique. I like what Dr. Joe Dispenza has been doing. I've been using his. It's been awesome. These are tools you need to have, and you need to figure out time for yourself. I work hard. I work long hours. I love to do what I do. But again, there's times you got to take a break and go out, for me, dirt bike riding or whatever. But one of the things we teach you to do here, because I know a lot of you are in pain, you're sad, you're pissed off, and maybe deservingly so. Maybe your spouse or a son or a daughter or a sibling, they've did you wrong. Yeah. You know what? And go into that moment, relive that, and then go out, chop wood, break glass, throw rocks, scream, hit, beat, take a pillow, throw it at your bed, whatever you got to do, let it out. You deserve to just let this stuff out. Let it go. Go put your feet in the grass, barefoot. If you're near a beach, go in the sun, get those negative ions in your body, and let the stuff go. Because it's just stuff. And you don't want to stuff that stuff in the cells of your body because it's going to manifest into your dis-ease that you don't want to carry around. So when you created this to figure out how to solve it. So here you are. Let's solve that disease. Let's dissolve it and let's get on with living your best life. Look, no matter where you're at in life, whether you're 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, you're going to hang around for a while. Let's live the best life. Let's clean it up. Clean up the body. Get rid of the toxins. When I say toxins, I don't only mean the glyphosate, the electromagnetic frequencies, the pesticides, but that toxic stinking thinking. Let's get rid of those things in our lives, in our world, that's not serving our higher good. So no matter what the disease you've been labeled with, don't worry about the label. Let's just get on with living. Let's leave that in the past. Cut the ties. Break the strings that have been holding you back. and let that stuff go. Because you know what? You don't deserve to keep living with that anger, with that remorse. You just need a buddy on your side. Hey, it's been a joy to be with you today, my friends. Go over the podcast if you missed part of this show. Whole Body Detox Show. We got 99 episodes up now. You'll learn something from one of them. I can guarantee you that. Give us a review. Subscribe to it. If you want to reach out to us, 208-3789-911. David DeHaas from Living Waters, livingwaterscleanse.com. You make it a blessed week. We'll be back next week with another edition.
You can't treat the body and heal it a piece at a time. You have to treat the whole body naturally. That's why Living Waters Wellness Center 10-day healing retreat is so successful in helping what I call the incurables back to wellness. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
For over a year, I've been dealing with gas pains, stomach pains, and it's been waking me up in the middle of the night, so I never get a full night's rest. And last night, after my first colonics, I slept through the entire night without any stomach pain or any kind of issues.
I suffered from migraine headaches for 12 years, once a month, and since I did the 10-day retreat at Living Waters Wellness Center 8 years ago, I have not even had a migraine. I've not even had a headache.
I had back pain on my left side for about 25 years. After the 10-day healing retreat, the pain is completely gone.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to healingtheincurables.com or call the office at 208-378-9911. That's 208-378-9911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience and may not be right for you. Seek the opinion of a qualified healthcare professional before determining if cleansing is right for you.